Oh, hello, and welcome to the fun side of the Brawlhalla community. I
Tourney.
am going to
Nash.
make a little guide in which I will explain the basics of how to make Nash work, because Nash can be a legend that is easily punishable if you don't um, think accordingly to the situation. So, here's the first weapon that I just got. The hammer. The hammer in Nash, you really it's not that good. You really need to mix up a lot of your signatures in order to make the hammer work. You you don't have the dexterity of other legends like Cassidy or Bodvar, in which the hammer feels so much smoother. Here is going to feel like really slow and clunky for the most part, because that's what it is. Hammer is this type. It follows that type of archetype. So in Nash, you will feel it a little bit more than in other legends that use hammer. So you probably are going to need to just the basics, learn how to move around with the hammer. One really common strategy that you can use with hammer is just trying to be behind your opponent and do a cider, because cider is just a great move overall to kill your opponent, to build up damage. It does a great deal of damage and it has a great force behind that move. I should probably turn off the damage. Hurtworks is not so necessary. So this move is really good to build up damage. But what about the signatures? When can I use the signatures? You have two types of, well, hammer. You can really use it in a really offensive way, more than any other hammer use, in my opinion. There are stages that are going to be really beneficial for Nash in this sense, like King's Pass, because there is a platform, there is like the tower that is above the other, and you will be able to jump like in this arc, and you sometimes will catch your opponent off guard and you will be able to deal a lot of damage. Being able to use this consistently in like a surprise factor is going to be really beneficial for you in the games. You can really get a lot of kills with that. Another thing, this down heavy with hammer is a really good tool to edge guarding. I don't recommend you to go to the ledge and doing this type of moves when you're really high on the ranks. You can do this move, I recommend it if your opponent doesn't have like an axe, katar or sword, because if they have those weapons, they will kill you pretty easily if you whiff the down heavy when you're ground pounding. I recommend you to throw your weapon and just go for the ground pound. It's much safer, but oops, I kinda needed the hammer. There we have, there we go. But a great move that you can use to ledge guard in a really safe way for the most part is doing the down heavy in this part, like not this, not so much like that. I usually do this way, guys. Look at that hitbox. That hitbox is huge if you time it correctly and your opponent is just like hugging the wall on this area, and usually people do this a lot. People will start jumping like this. If you time it correctly, your opponent will die if it's jumping like this in a really predictable way. You have a lot of space to do this down heavy. It's a great move to ledge guard in a really not so common way, because you can really exploit the hitbox of this angle. And I don't know how many times I have done that move and I have killed somebody. It's so good. It's a really good move. Even if you don't land the perfect the perfect spot like that, you will be able to at least do a little bit of damage. When you're falling down with the down heavy, you don't do so much damage. Like as you can see there, you only do 13 points of damage and you lose a lot of the strength of the move itself. But it's a great move to just throw your opponent off guard. And if your opponent has a low health, like I'm going to time right here, you can follow up with something else, and it is going to be a great way to throw your opponent off balance. So there is the down heavy. Now what about the neutral heavy? When can I use this move? This move is, I use it a lot when my opponent is just like, he just got hit by another move. For example, if I use this move, I will follow it up for most of the time with this one. Why? Because people usually like to jump around, like in this arc, around yourself. And if you do this move, you will be able to punish him in a lot of occasions. It's just safe, and even if you don't, even if you don't land it, you will be able to do this, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a great way to build up damage. So when I use this move, I don't usually. Well, you can also sometimes do the gravity castle like this, and if your opponent is not aware that you can do that, you will be able to punish him, and it's going to be a great way to punish your opponent for just not ledge guarding in a safe way. But this move is really great. The angle in which your opponent can get hit, it varies all over the place. It's going to be standing flying like in this direction, it's going to be flying like it's going to bounce on the ground, and you're going to lose a lot of force because of that. But sometimes when your opponent is like on orange health and he jumps like on the purple circle that I'm just jumping over here, he will be in a really bad spot because this move has a lot of strength behind it. So that is the only occasion in which I use this move. I have seen like 2 or 3 people doing this move like in this direction, but it's not so safe and it's not consistent. I rather do this move right here, and it's going to be much more effective. This move is just way too safe. It's safer in every occasion. So there is that. Look at that hitbox. I'm just hovering over this area. People just when they're trying to reach the stage, it's always jump in some occasions. Like from this area right here, and you're going to punish them, and I have killed a lot of people in games because of that. Usually it works like 1 time per match, but it is really safe. So I'm going to, oh well, we have the other signatures. There is this one, and you want to be doing this one when your opponent is really close to you, and or if he is like recovering from another move. This move is great. It has a great force. You're going to kill a lot of people with that move. It's a really good move. It's solid. When people are just getting into the ground, this is also a great move to use. Not really much to tell, or really a setup that you could use with this move. It's just you really need to know the condition of the match to know if it is acceptable to use that move. Alright, so let's go to the spear. I'm really good using the spear, and the way that Nash benefits from other legends of the spear, and I believe the Nash spear is one of the best, is because you can shield yourself with your signatures. in a way that no other legend has. Look at that hitbox. That hitbox is just a really great shield for Nash in so many ways. People love, as I have said, love to jump like in this arc against like around you, you know. They will get hit by some move and they will jump to be behind you and do a counter attack, but this move prevents them from doing that, and they will be in a really awkward spot. I don't believe that the spear of Nash, at least how I play it, is really good fighting on the air, because as you can see the hitbox here is not so large and you really need to be precise to land this move. It's really fast. You really need to get really fast doing this. I see a lot of people using just this when playing the spear, and I just see a loss of you know, potential in what you can use. I believe that Nash really expels greatness when he's on the ground. I use a lot of the neutral attacks like this. You will have a lot of damage if you just do this on the ground. People, you can outspace weapons like swords, you can outspace katars, you can outspace almost any weapon except guns, axe, and lance. They have much greater range than this move, but this move overall is just great against all the other things. What else? This move, it protects you so much from the angle in which a lot of like weapons like to approach, like katars. They will approach you like in this direction, and if you just do the spear, you're going to be able to punish them if you time it correctly. You can punish your opponent so efficiently when they're trying to approach you. I love to shield myself also with my opponents. If you're so close with your opponent, you can also use this move to hit them, because it hits in an arc upwards from just in front of you to the top. So this move is also great, and it is really fast. It doesn't do a lot of damage, as you can see, but it's just great to protect yourself. If you time it correctly and when you get the hang of it, you're going to be able to use this move really efficiently. This is really the meat of the protection that you will need to have against a lot of weapons. I recommend you to go practice this to fight against a lot of people and try to learn the movement, because a lot of people love to jump above your head. Just use this move, it's just great. What other thing? This move is so good, it has so much force, but be careful, this move can be punished really easily. People just need to dodge in front of you like this, and they will escape from that signature. So when do you need to use these signatures? I believe that this move should be used when you're trying to punish some of the recoveries of your opponent when they're doing their heavy moves. It is going to be great, and as you can see, it has a great deal of damage. You can kill people when they're on orange health. That is like really good against some legends. Depending on your position on the mat, on the stage, you will be able to deal a great deal of damage, and you're going to have a great force to send your opponent flying really farther away from the stage. This move is really good if your opponent is not paying attention of their footsies. This move is really powerful. Now if he's on orange health, I should be able to kill him on this one. Not quite, but he is still on orange, he's not quite red there. So yes, with that he dies. It is a great move. Now the other move that I see almost nobody using, this move is just amazing, but you will be able to do like 28 points of damage. Well, if I change to bot bar, I believe it's 28, 27. Well, close enough. This move is great, but you don't need to use it on the ground. This move will not be as efficient as if you do it just on the air. If you do this move in the air just like this, you will have a greater space in which your move is going to be effective, and you will send the wrong signals to your opponent in the way that your opponent, when they see you jumping, sometimes they will love to jump towards you, and if you move in any way or direction, they will dodge forward to your position, and when they dodge to your position, that is when they make the mistake of getting hit by this move. This move is great as a bait because people are so good at dodging in this game, and believe me, I have played against a lot of players that are just great dodging, but when you jump and like this, not like this, and when you jump and do this move, not this move, I'm so sorry. I'm truly good at this legend, guys, believe me. When you use this move in this direction, just in the air, just in this direction, you're going to be able to bait your opponent because they are going to dodge forward, and you will be able to hit them. It is really hard to kill with this move because usually the momentum of the whole signatures is going to go down, and then it's going to bounce, and you're going to lose a lot of force because of that. So use this move thinking about dealing the 27 points of damage. It is just great. I have used this move a lot in this occasion, just do it randomly, and even if you don't land it, you're going to be able to quickly, because you're just touching the ground and you don't have the same recovery as in the air. You're going to be able to land quickly and neutral light if your opponent doesn't get hit by that move in the first place. So it is like a bait, as I said. You're going to be telling your opponent that he needs to dodge forward in order to punish you, and as the move is so slow on the air, because it is a really slow move, you will be able to hit them. It is just great. It is just a great move. What else do I need to say about the spear? Oh, the same thing if you're fighting against Catars, if you're fighting against sword, axe. Don't go for the ground pound or the recovery even. Just try to avoid the ledge and the air for the most part. At least that is my playstyle. I try to play a lot in the ground. I feel like I can use my signatures in a much more effective way. It's just not safe enough to be always in the air. Oh, and the gravity cancels with Nash are so great. What you will be able to do with the gravity cancels, if you time it correctly, you're going to be able to protect yourself and being able to kill your opponent so efficiently. Gravity cancels are of course circumstantial. You really need to pay attention to the movement of your opponent in order to make them work, but for the most part, gravity cancels with Nash are just amazing. I really enjoy using gravity cancels. And I see a lot of people that, I don't see a lot of people that use a lot of gravity cancel in the game, and I think that I use gravity cancels a lot. You just really need to know when to use them. The gravity cancels with hammer, they're just a great tool to build up damage, you know. That combo I just did that combo because of the approach that I took, like this. Sometimes you don't want to land on the ground like this, because that is going to send your opponent farther away. If you just do it like this and you don't touch the ground, you will be able to follow it up with another move, and usually you will do much damage. You will do much more damage than you would do otherwise if you land them. So yeah, I don't use that much of the stomp because at this moment I believe that the stomping is not so consistent. It is really not worth it, but you can also do a great deal of things if you time it correctly. The reality is that in a real match is not consistent enough to integrate it like really often into your playstyle. So that is how I play Nash. Now there are of course specific matchups that are really dependent of the playstyle of my opponents. So maybe in the future I will be able to talk a little bit more about that. Let me know if you like the basics of Nash. I know I talk a little bit over time, but then again, a lot of people don't use this legend, and this legend is amazing. Just for the record, this advice and this way of presenting, I mean not presenting, and this guide that I'm presenting comes from a player that is like what? I'm like 20 rank 20 diamond in the US server, so I have hundreds of hours with experience with Nash, and I used Nash in a really unique way. So this is the general guide, guys. If you want to play a little bit like me, and I have found a lot of success with Nash, take this into consideration. If you have something to ask or something that I forgot to mention, please let me know, and I will cover that in another video when I talk a little bit more in depth with a specific matchup. You know, how Nash can play against Bodvar, how Nash can play specifically against Sword, how Nash can play specifically against Katars. That is something that I will be really interested to do in the future. So, but this is the basic, guys. This is the thing that I usually do on all games. This is the thing that go through my mind when I play Nash, and I don't do much else, and I don't think it needs to be more than this. So yeah, guys, again, thanks so much for watching. If you stick to the end, I know that I talk a little bit too much on this one, but yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again next time. And remember to follow me on Twitter and on Twitch, because I stream almost every day. So yeah, follow me there. And thank you for everything. Bye bye. Bye bye.